Today is going to be full of mostly playing catch up around the house and getting things ready. We just suffered a stomach bug that has been going around, and then right as we recovered, we were leaving for a trip to Chattanooga. And then here in the next few days, we're going to be leaving again for Gatlinburg. So we have got a lot of things to get done around here before we're going to be gone again. While we were in Chattanooga, my husband was doing a work trip and we were staying in a hotel. We normally go camping everywhere, and so I'm pretty prepared as far as it comes to food and bringing all the things that we will need, but I didn't necessarily know if we were going to have breakfast at the hotel or not. Probably should have checked into that, but nonetheless, when we got there, we realized that my husband was going to have free breakfast, but we were not. So I did a Walmart pickup order, grabbed a few things like some fruit, milk, some cereal, and some yogurt. We had some of that left over. We brought it back home. Unfortunately, when we were on the way home, the bananas, they split at the top. They were fine for me to do something with today, but I didn't want to leave them like that because I knew they were going to get spoiled. I gave half of it to my 1-year-old for part of her breakfast, and then I had seen a video somewhere online about making banana yogurt covered popsicles. Essentially, I have a bunch of homemade yogurt in the fridge. I can give this a try. I stirred up the yogurt to kind of break it up a little bit so that it would be easy to stick the bananas down in there. Just took some popsicle sticks and put those in the end of the bananas. Then dipped the bananas down in the yogurt and then put them on a piece of parchment paper on a plate. So I did this with what bananas we had. So I made 3 popsicles, which was perfect because I have 3 kids. I repeated this process again. Unfortunately, I dropped one of them inside the yogurt and had to fish it out, but you know, I'm making it for our family, so it really doesn't matter. You could leave the banana pops like this, just plain yogurt. I thought about maybe adding like some cocoa powder and maybe some honey and seeing if I could make it kind of like a fudge sickle covered banana, but I haven't tried that yet. But we just added some sprinkles, just give it some extra fun element to the banana popsicles. I really like making our homemade yogurt. I make it in the Instant Pot and it's so easy. I have a recipe for it on the blog, but this time I figured out something new, which I'll probably add a post about this at some point. But it's so much easier to, instead of just pouring the milk straight directly into your Instant Pot, pouring it into a mason jar and heating it up in the jar in the Instant Pot, and then you don't have to transfer the yogurt at all. You heat it up in there, you ferment it in there, you put it in the fridge in the jar, and it's a lot less cleaning also, and I'm all about any way to do less cleaning. I also realized we had left a bunch of strawberries that were going bad, so I went ahead and cut those up so that my kids could snack on them today. Get some laundry started because, if you don't stay somewhere with a washing machine, you're going to come home with loads of laundry, and we had some wet clothes from going swimming at the hotel, and so those needed to get washed right away. I use our homemade laundry detergent. I have directions on how to make that and a free printable label that you can put on your container if you decide you want to make it. I absolutely love using this homemade laundry detergent. My 5-year-old is helping me out carrying things to the rooms that they need to go to. I think it's really important to incorporate your kids in all of the housework just so that they, understand that they are an important part of the home, and also that we all have to work to live here. There's jobs that always have to be done, and they are more than capable to help out around the house also. I went to clean some things out of the van, realized that I had left some clothes, so since I just started, I went ahead and threw those in also. And then I'm trying to clean out a few more things out of the van. I feel like no matter what I do, the van gets destroyed. It's just one of those things that it's kind of hard unless you diligently stay on top of it every time you're getting out of the vehicle, which sometimes is kind of impossible with 3 kids. It just turns into a big mess and has to be cleaned out like once a week. Since we're just getting back, I know that I have not much food in the refrigerator, so I go out to the freezer and pull out a bunch of different meat that we can cook this week. I had some leftover bread in there that I froze while we were sick and didn't really feel like eating. I'm going to make some homemade sandwiches with this focaccia bread. I really love this sandwich from Panera, the Chipotle chicken avocado melt, and I figured out how to make one that tastes pretty similar. I mean, it's good enough to keep me from going to Panera and buying it all the time. I figured out how to make one at home. That's what we're going to have for dinner. But I am going to get a few things started with my potato flake sourdough. I'm going to make some pumpkin cinnamon rolls, and I'm also going to make some pizza dough and turn them into Hot Pockets. I'm just starting the dough today, so you won't see the full cinnamon rolls or pizza pockets. I will tell you that I'll probably have them in another video, but the cinnamon rolls are a recipe that I have on my blog, and I can post the link to that in the description below. But I know it's not fall, and so people don't really think about making pumpkin things all throughout the year, but these pumpkin cinnamon rolls are the most delicious cinnamon rolls that we just can't help but make them in any season. It doesn't matter if it's summer, spring, fall, winter. These pumpkin cinnamon rolls are worth making. And even if you don't really like pumpkin, it's not a super powerful pumpkin flavor. So don't knock it till you try it, because I think that the added pumpkin just provides this moisture and flavor into the cinnamon rolls that you just really need to give it a try. I'm mixing up the pizza dough now while I wait on the pumpkin puree to thaw, because whenever you open up a can of pumpkin, it is usually more than you need for a recipe unless it calls for the whole can. This recipe only calls for half of the can, so unless you're doubling the recipe, you're going to have another batch worth of pumpkin puree left over. I just put it in a bag and stick it in the freezer. And this time I pulled it out of the freezer and it just hadn't quite thawed all the way yet. I stuck it in a bowl of warm water for it to finish thawing while I mixed up this pizza dough. I had to add a little extra water to it to get the right texture of the dough. Also, when I was making the cinnamon roll dough, I had to add a little bit of extra flour. And I just want to mention, like, if you do make sourdough, the flour and water sourdough, or like I make the potato flake sourdough, if you make bread, it really applies to whatever type of sourdough you use, or even if you are just making it with yeast. Sometimes you just have to adjust your recipe based on your environmental factors. Sometimes it's more humid in your home, warmer in your home, colder in your home, more dry in your home. Your flour that you buy could have more moisture in it. It all depends on these different factors as to whether you're going to need to add more flour or less flour. It's just kind of something that no matter what recipe you use, it might work out the exact measurements or it might not. You might have to adjust it just a little bit, add a little bit more flour or add a little bit more liquid to make it look exactly the way it's supposed to. And at first, whenever you're making bread, if you've never done it before, it may be hard to kind of get a feel for what the bread should look like. But once you have figured that out, it really is so simple and you will be able to make bread very easily. I needed to clean off the top of our stove very bad. I should clean it more often than I do. I probably should clean it at least a couple times a week, but it's just not realistic. And I have a very realistic cleaning schedule that I follow, and I may not follow it to a T every week, to be honest. But it is just such a great guide and a realistic guide for me to try to get things accomplished around the house. And I might adjust it because, we have to all be flexible. Just like with the bread making, you need to be able to be flexible in your homemaking. Being able to say, oh, I'm here in the bathroom watching my kids take a bath. This could be a great time that I could wipe down the counters or clean the toilet or fold some laundry while I'm sitting here watching them. There's times that you can get things done that make more sense than just being so strict to following a schedule. But having a routine there, whenever you have a few minutes and you're like, what do I need to get done? This is such a great guide that you can follow to help keep you on track and keeping things moving and getting done in your home. I have a free printable for that checklist over at the blog, littletennessehome.com, and I will leave a link to that in the description below. But it has helped so many people already, and I know that it could probably help you too. I sat down for just a little bit of time and got a bit of work done while I enjoyed my afternoon coffee, but now it is time for me to start thinking about getting dinner ready. So I'm making the Panera bread sandwich that I really love, chipotle chicken, avocado melt. It's kind of a whole mouthful, but anyway, it's made on focaccia bread, and this is some of the potato flake focaccia that I make, which I also have a recipe for that too. On this sandwich, you use chicken, cilantro, which is optional because I know some people are not like huge cilantro fans, roasted red peppers, Gouda cheese, sliced avocado, and a chipotle aioli, which I make that at home, but you can also buy it at Kroger for sure. There is a brand that is, I cannot think of the brand right now, but we used to use that, but now I find it's just a lot cheaper and easier just to whip it up real quick at home. Cooked some chicken tenderloins in the cast iron real quick, rinsed that out so that I could use the cast iron again to toast the bread. We also had some leftover chicken from making a salad, and so I went ahead and chopped that chicken up first and cooked a little bit more chicken for the rest of us because I knew that wasn't going to be enough. It was pretty close to enough, but we still needed a little bit more chicken. A lot of times I will buy the jarred red pepper so that it makes it a lot easier to make these sandwiches. It's just one less step that I have to do, but you could totally roast your own red bell peppers at home. I've been thinking about maybe roasting a bunch and then putting them in the freezer because you don't really have to have a good texture for this sandwich. It's just for the flavor. So I think in the future, whenever the red bell peppers go on sale, I'm going to buy several of them, roast them all at once so that I can have them on hand and not have to buy the jar of the roasted red peppers, because you have to use those up within a certain amount of time of opening them, and we don't usually end up using it and then it goes to waste. I do think that buying them and making them yourself would probably be a better choice, but this was just the easiest option and what I've done for a while. I just put a few little pads of butter in the cast iron skillet, toasted the bread on there just to kind of give it a little bit more texture, especially since it had been frozen. If it was fresh right out of the oven focaccia, you might not need to toast it, but since it was in the freezer, this just gives the bread a good texture that will be a lot more enjoyable on a sandwich. Ideally, you would put the avocado on the bottom, but I forgot to do that. So you would put avocado slices, the cut up chicken, the cilantro, some chipotle aioli, some Gouda cheese, and before the Gouda cheese, you're going to put some diced up roasted red peppers. And since I forgot to put the avocado on there first, I'm going to finish the sandwich off with some sliced avocado. This really makes for a delicious sandwich, so even if you don't love avocado by itself, it is a really great addition on the sandwich. So once I get it all on the sandwich, I'll close the sandwich up in some aluminum foil and stick it in the oven. I did a 350-degree oven. I like putting them in the oven until my husband gets home from work so that our dinner is ready right away, and then we can eat and then go on about our evening doing other things that we want to do. And while it's in the oven heating up, I can clean up some stuff around the kitchen. So here's our Chipotle chicken avocado melt. It was delicious. And then here in a bit, after our kids finish eating, they get to have their banana pop, which they really enjoyed. It was a really good treat for them, and I'll be making some more of these, especially if the bananas go on sale at Kroger. Thank you so much for stopping by today. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will be making more videos like this. I also have other videos that you could check out about my potato flake starter and how to make some of the different things that I have on my blog. Thanks so much for watching. See you again soon.